Hey, house guests! Welcome to today's Big Brother Canada 10 updates and spoilers. Nothing like forgetting what season we're on the last day of live feeds. But I hope you're all having a great Saturday so far today. Our house guests of the day are Christine, Tim Hudson, Gwyn Jananian, Nick Petrella, Amber Morris, Chris Feltz, Latasha Allen, and Patricia Baker. Thank you all so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we really do appreciate it so much. So thank you again. If you want to be house guest of the day, you can't. I'm sorry. This is the last spoiler of the season. But I want to thank all of our amazing patrons over on Patreon. We appreciate your support so much. So thank you for making this season happen for us. It's so awesome. Yeah, I hope I got everybody too. I went through and combed through my list today. So let me know if I left you out. I hope I did not. Okay. And I also want to thank our super chatters from yesterday before we get going here. Sheena Can 47, Samuel Johnson, Traval K, Darby C, and Christine. Thank you all so much. And we've got super chatters today. Woo! Jefferson Tucker, thank you so much as always. He says, "Oh, bye." Right? Thanks for all the updates. Made my first season of BBCan fun. Jefferson, I'm so glad that you started watching this season because this was a fantastic season to start on if you've never seen Big Brother Canada before. I think there's been some absolute wild gameplay this season, so I'm really glad that you enjoyed it. Thank you again. NM1000, thank you so much. And they said, I wish I could understand Betty's mumbling self-talks or any of your sources transcribing her words. Honestly, Betty's talking to herself is so much fun because we've heard a lot of house guests like talk things out loud like over the seasons, but Betty has like a very distinct way of doing it where it is very conversational, and it sounds like she's talking to somebody else, so you're like expecting to hear a response from somebody else and then there isn't one. But she is an absolute gem. I'm sorry that I can't transcribe everything that she's saying because a lot of times it's hard to make it out, but whenever I do hear what she's saying, I'm just like, Betty, never change. You're amazing. So anyway, let's get started. When we left off yesterday, Josh was the HOH, and Kevin was quite frazzled by that because he actually believed that Josh was going to throw the final four HOH competition to him or Helena. Absolutely wild, crazy, bonkers, bananas. I can't believe that Kevin actually believed that. Like, I can't believe Kevin actually even asked that of Josh. That's wild. But Helena was taking it all in stride. She's like, you know what? We got played. Josh is amazing. He's doing his thing. And now we just have to focus on winning the power veto. So Josh was planning out his nominations with Betty. And just keep in mind, nominations don't really matter this week. It all comes down to the power veto. The nominations are more ceremonial, I feel like. And it looked like Josh was planning to put up Betty with Kevin. And Betty's okay with this. This is a plan that she came up with along with Josh. Josh wants Betty to stay this week. So Josh is thinking, all right, by leaving Helena off the block, yes, he would be keeping Helena's no nomination streak alive. But he's hoping that this is going to help him because he's hoping if Kevin wins the power veto, maybe Kevin would consider voting out Helena instead of Betty because Kevin doesn't want to risk Helena getting to the end and being able to say, look, I went through the whole entire season without being nominated, because usually juries will appreciate that. So he is leaving that temptation there. He's also hoping that this is going to make Helena and Kevin feel comfortable because Kevin already told Josh, I'm going to be pissed if you put me and Helena up on the block together. It's going to make me feel like crash test dummies are no more. You know, I won't be able to trust you. So Josh wants Kevin and Helena to believe that he still wants to go to the final three with them, but it seems like he does not. Okay, so Kevin chats with Josh in the HOH room, and Kevin's like, what are you thinking right now? You know, for these nominations and everything. And Josh says, I'm thinking you and Betty on the block. Kevin's like, cool. What's the reason? Josh is like, He did not seem prepared to answer this question from Kevin. But Josh is like, to be honest, it's really just for Helena. I don't want to ruin her record. That was not a great excuse. But anyway, Kevin is nervousing. He's asking Josh, what are you going to do if you win the power veto? Because before this, Kevin seemed to forget that Josh was even playing in the veto. He wasn't really factoring that into his scenarios. But yeah, Josh is eligible to compete for this power veto. So he's asking Josh, like, would you evict Helena or Betty? I just want to clear something up here because it's been driving me nuts. Josh cannot technically evict anyone this week. But if he wins the power veto, he would decide who will be casting the soul vote to evict this week. I mean, if he chooses to use the power veto on Betty, then Crash Test Dummies are over because one of them would absolutely be leaving. But I mean, he is not actually evicting someone himself. So I just wanted to make that clear. But Josh is saying he wants Betty to go. The lie detector test determined that was a lie. He does not want Betty to go. But Kevin says, look, Josh, I'm the only person crazy enough to want to go to the final two with you. Nah. He also says, you know what? I'm not really thinking straight right now because you broke my brain by winning that HOH competition when you said that you're going to throw it. So Kevin says, Betty can beat anyone in the end. You know, she's got to go. And Josh is playing along, saying, yeah, I want to go to the final three with you and Helena. So then Kevin starts going through every option of like nominations, POV winners, final two, blah. It all feels very tedious. You can tell Kevin's mind is going a mile a minute. You know, Josh winning that HOH competition really did freak Kevin out because he thought that he was the one in the power position here. But now he got. You know, somebody did to him what he's been doing to everybody else all season. So in the end, you know, of this conversation, Kevin agrees to go up on the block with Betty. He gives Josh his blessing on that. I just want to point out, Kevin is under the impression that Josh wants Betty to go, which is wrong. Okay, so then they had the nomination ceremony, and Josh put up Betty and Kevin as planned. And then the house guests were surprised to learn that the power veto competition would also be last night. How is this still a surprise 10 seasons in? I feel like they've done the same exact format like every single season. And I know like a lot of these house guests don't watch the live feeds, but I'm pretty sure Kevin is an avid feeds watcher. So like how is this all a surprise to him? I don't know. Maybe he's just all like shook up from Josh winning HOH. But the feeds went down for the power veto competition last night and they didn't come back until early this morning. I don't know everything about this comp, but it was individually timed. It involved questions about the days and events of the season. And it sounds like they were crawling through like a maze, like gross stuff on the ground. I don't know. So there was a physical and mental aspect to it. So when the feeds did come back early this morning, everyone was asleep except for Josh. Josh was listening to music in the HOH room. Was he restless because he won power veto and now has a big decision ahead of him? It wasn't clear at the time, but this morning, after everybody got up, Helena and Kevin were chatting in the bathroom, and we found out that yes, Josh did win the power of veto. Oh my God, I swear, this season continues to be so chaotic, so messy, and so backstabby because now Josh is going to have to make a decision. Is he going to stick with the Crash Test Dummies and like possibly leave the nominations the same or even save Kevin? Or is he going to side with Betty, who he's been super close to all season? This season just continues to deliver. It seems like at every turn, the most chaotic outcome happens. So yeah. Helena's telling Kevin, I really hope that Josh is going to keep me And I hope that he realizes if Betty stays, she could win. So Helena and Kevin are still talking about going to the final two together. I don't think that's going to be possible at this juncture. So they also seem to think that Helena is the one possibly in danger here, not Kevin. But I feel like Josh and Betty would prefer for Kevin to go over Helena, like big time. I feel like they've been talking about that for a few weeks now. So, or maybe just feels like a few weeks. Maybe it's only a week. Time has been so weird lately. But the house guests were really like luxuriating around today. They seem to think that they're just gonna have a chill day. They're just, relaxing after the craziness. Oh my god. So eventually Kevin is chatting with Josh in the HOH room, and they're talking about who everyone would potentially take to the final two. And Kevin's like, Josh, I would take you to the final two. And Helena and Betty would both cut you. They would both take the other person. So Josh says, at the end of the day, I'm not the one evicting someone. I feel like Josh is really trying to like clear his name here and like prep whoever's being evicted so that they won't blame him for it in the jury. But Josh says, I just get to choose who's going to be making that decision. So Kevin says, I feel like if Betty is voting, she's going to evict me. I mean, yeah, there's a good chance of that. But Kevin says that's not good for your game if I go, because I want to go to the end with you. I would go to the final two with you. And he says, I would love to see the crash test dummies in the final three together. So Kevin is definitely pushing hard for Betty to go. He says Helena would be much easier for them to beat in the final HOH competitions. And he tells Josh, look, if you use the power veto on me, I can evict Betty for you. You won't have to have that blood on your hands. Plus, Helena won't be able to say that she's never been nominated, because if you pull me down, she would have to go up as replacement nominee. So also, like, if you want me to evict Helena, it would be tough, but like, I guess I could do it. So Kevin says the easy thing to do, of course, would be to just leave the nominations the same. Helena would make the decision. She could vote out Betty. And yeah. But Kevin keeps pushing that Betty would not take Josh to the final two. And he says, if you evict Betty, you have an 80% chance of winning this thing. He says, it's so obvious. Don't overthink this. Okay. So next, Betty gets her turn to chat with Josh. And Betty says, you know what? I really think you have to like earn your way into the final three. And even though I tried my best in the power veto competition, I didn't earn my spot. That's just how it is. So she tells Josh, I will respect whatever decision you make. I don't want you to feel obligated to take me anywhere. Whatever you decide, our friendship means a lot to me, and that is always going to come first. So Betty says, if I am in the jury, if you let me go, of course it's going to sting a little bit, but you have my vote no matter what. I will advocate for you with the jury. And she says, if you do use the power veto on me and I stay, my loyalty is unwavering to the end. If it's up to me to make the decision, I'm taking you to the final two. I would be honored to sit next to you. So Josh is like, yeah, I want to sit next to you too. They're talking about like how they're best friends, yada, yada, yada. He says she is the only person who has kept it real with him 100% this whole game. And Josh says, if I use the power veto on you, you're going to be deciding who stays. And Betty's like, well, I want to make that decision with you. So she says, I feel like I already won because of our friendship. So like, I want to do whatever you want to do, whatever you think is best. So then Josh is praising Betty again. He says, you've kept it 100. You've been completely yourself. And I think that that's something that should be rewarded. So it definitely seems like Josh will be saving Betty with the power of veto. So chaotic. They talk about who should go. And Betty, of course, was saying like she'll do what Josh wants, but Josh wants her opinion. And she says her gut is telling her to evict Kevin. He's just been so slimy. He lied his way through this game. But then she's also like, you know what, though? Kevin has only won one competition. And I'm like, yeah, because Gino spelled nominees wrong. But anyway, she says Helena is a stronger competitor than Kevin. And at the same time, Betty's like, but I still feel like we could both beat Helena in these final competitions. So Josh brings up the point that Helena has never been nominated so far. So that could be a point in her favor with the jury. So they're going back and forth about it. They don't come to a decision during this conversation. They think that they have more time. The house guests seem to be under the impression that the eviction will be tomorrow, Sunday. So they don't know what they're going to do, but it does seem like Josh will use the power veto on Betty. That's the way it's looking. He didn't say that 100%, but like 10 to 15 minutes after that conversation was over, Arissa calls the house guests to the living room, and the house guests are shook. They, again, thought this eviction would be tomorrow. Oh my God, this should not be a surprise. What is going on here? They've been following the same format for years. But yeah, they're still really surprised about this special eviction. So Betty's like, is it finale? Helena says, is someone coming back? My goodness. I love these fools. But Arissa lets them know that in the next hour, the final four will become the final three. Welcome to our special eviction. So then after that, the feed's cut. That's a wrap on the live feeds until that's it for the rest of the season. That's the end of the live feeds. But now what? Helena, from what I saw, did not get a chance to talk to Josh yet, unless she talked to him last night. I don't think so, though. So I don't know if maybe she pulled him aside during that hour before the eviction, but it's looking like Josh will likely use the power veto on Betty. Come on in. And in the process, he will be shocking. Hello. He will be shocking the crap out of Kevin and Helena. Yeah. It's hard to tell at this point who Betty would then evict. Where's Bowie?
He said, I'm with my dad.
Oh, okay. But Betty was saying that her gut is telling her to evict Kevin, but she wants to decide with Josh. So I don't know how much time those two are going to have to figure this out and talk about it. But we won't know for sure until Wednesday, because it seems like they're not showing that on Monday night's episode, from what Arissa was saying the other day.
I think it's pretty safe to say that Josh is not going to screw over Betty again.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to use the veto. But like, who's Betty going to evict?
If Betty was smart and deserved to win, she would get.
I'd say Kevin, right? So Monday night's episode is probably going to be the BBCan Awards, and
oh my God,
yeah, and the HOH competition. And then we're gonna see the special eviction on Wednesday, and then the finale. Come on in. The finale, yay! It's 2 hours on Thursday, Bowie.
Smiles.
Yes. So I want to thank all of our super chatters today, because you were all amazing and we really appreciate it. Jefferson Tucker, thank you so much as always, my stage manager. NM1000, thank you again so much. Jody Cortez, thank you so much for the super chat. And Jody asks, Jody says, he didn't say that, but he says, been such a crazy season. Would have been nice if Kevin made it to the end. Thanks to you and your mom for another great season. Aww. Thank you so much for watching. I agree. I was rooting for Kevin so hard, but he really messed up. He messed his game up last week.
He took a dump.
Yeah. If they had just straight up kept Josh, or at least not
toyed with him
like that in front of his face, things could have been different right now. But I think Kevin really blew it with last week, flipping back and forth and like letting Josh know about that. So that was definitely a huge mistake.
He also blew it by telling Betty that he was ready to cut Josh, because
that's what I mean. Like that's part of Josh finding out. But yeah. Lynn Hurst, thank you so much. And Lynn says, thank you for a wild season of spoilers. You and Janet are my heroes. Oh my God, you're so kind. Thank you so much. Treval K, thank you so much. And Treval says, it makes me a little sad, but Kevin got. He played himself, right?
Yeah.
He played himself.
He only has himself to blame.
Yeah. I mean, on the bright side, at least we're getting like a crazy ending to this crazy season.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting snaked. Nobody was like free of the drama this season. Yeah. So that's fun. Alicia Walters, thank you so much for the super chat. You are wonderful. All right. So it's been a wild ride this season. I want to thank all of you so much for your support and for watching with us as always. Special thanks to all of our patrons, all of our super chatters, Mom, yeah,
me?
all of my family, including the puppy crew, my fiance, my friends. I know this is like a rinky-dink YouTube show, but it takes a village.
It does.
So I really appreciate everybody who helps make this happen. And we will see you for Monday night's recap.
Oh my.
My goodness, we're getting down to it. Last few episodes.
I'm getting the vapors.
Yeah. So that's it. Hope everybody enjoys their weekend. And thank you again, as always, so
All right.
much.
Thank you, DJ Maddie D.
Yes. Until next time, much love. Bye.
Woo.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Oh, bye.
Bye.